Hey, it's Joey Balladonna here from Anthrax, and this is SAGAS.
Well,
Look, this is a big one.
I didn't break out and join the podcast today.
It is now time for Devil's Advocate. Same time, same place, awesome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Corbin, the Serpent Tongue Skipwith.
And this is Randall Berserker Marabou. And this is
Sagas.
SAGAS.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the 45th episode of Sagas.
Wow.
Last week's episode will be up and running by now. Actually, Josh Freeman already commented on it on the YouTube video. He said for last week, so the Periphery, he said one of my favorite albums ever.
Nice.
That's cool. Thanks for the support, Josh. So yeah, that was that. And as I said last week, today's choice is an album I've been wanting to talk about for a while because I keep using it in reference. Like I keep saying, oh, it sounds like the Panopticon album, and then no one knows what I'm talking about because you haven't covered it. So I was like, fuck it, let's just get it over and done with and cover it so that in the future I can say that phrase and everyone knows what I mean. So I'm super excited because Ren hasn't heard this album, and it is actually another interesting point because I was talking to one of the there's this writer I talked to, Jordan Plum. Shout out to you. He's a writer for like a lot of different metal publications. He's a metal writer, and I got him talking. So I got him listening to this band too. He's heard all of them like you, but never heard them. So now he's listening to them. So I'm connecting everyone this week with this album. But yeah, the album in question is the 2018 album, The Scars of Man on the Once Nameless Wilderness. But on mine, it just ends with Nameless, but I'm pretty sure the end is Wilderness. 2018, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts because to me, this is next to the EP, The Satanist by Behemoth. This to me is the second greatest modern day black metal album for me. So with all that said, Ren, I need to hear your opinion. What did you think of this album?
Shy. See you later. Nah. Yeah, man. I tell you, I was really surprised because when you were chatting about before, and I was expecting to be like a full-on death metal or black metal album, and in a lot of ways it is. In a lot of ways it isn't. But when I realized that it was a 2 hour long album, 2 part, I was like, holy shit, what is going on here, man? I was like, I had to try and clear my schedule a little bit just to listen to the whole album. It was a really interesting listen. I don't think I've heard anything that I can compare it to necessarily. And then when you told me that it was a one-man band, I mean, I was a one-man bander for quite a while, and I know the amount of work that goes into it, especially if you're playing all the instruments. And I was really surprised, and I love any album or any music that's based on the world that we live in, our surroundings. It just draws me straight in, like Wolves in the Throne Room that we spoke about a few weeks ago, and my own music that I write. I don't know if anybody knows, Corbin knows, I'm always up in the mountains. I'm always out fucking enjoying nature and stuff because it's really inspiring. And when I listen to this, it immerses you into that surroundings. And that's what I love about music like this. So yeah, straight away, I was pleasantly surprised, bro. So good choice this week.
Well, this is actually a funny thing I should have probably mentioned to Ren until we're on air. But we were only going to cover part one.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd made that clear, but I guess I didn't.
You probably did, like
you got
you
the whole
probably did.
experience. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can chat about the second part as well now if you want.
Yeah. So yeah, part two I love as well, but part one is what really brings me back. The repeat listens is part one. So you know, this thing it's an amazing album for so many reasons. the fact that it's a one-man band is ridiculous. I've tried to find this guy for years to contact him. He still makes music. He has new albums past this that are amazing as well. But what I love about this album is he's found a way to, because this album is a combination of black metal and folk, and it has a very conceptual twist to it. And the one thing I love about it is that he's able to hit on all cylinders as far as he's found a magical way to have the black metal fans invested, the folk metal fans invested, the environmentalists invested. Like, he's got everyone into it. It's just like not very often do you see someone drawing on all cylinders. People who like conceptual albums, drawing them into, like, he has so many different different niches and different backgrounds come together to support this album, because it does hit on so much. And to be honest, I don't think I've heard a metal album talk about the environment since that Disturbed single, Another Way to Die. Back in 2010, Disturbed dropped the album Asylum, and the single, I'm not sure if the whole album was environmentally aware, but I know the single Another Way to Die was about global warming. It's just another way to die. It was. I've never heard. I mean, that was in 2010. I'd never heard anyone talk about the environment in a metal context, which is pretty crazy. But this one's 2018, and it just sounds so fucking immersive. Like, I'm not sure if he's just sitting in the forest recording sometimes. I mean, it could just be sound effects, but it sounds like he's there in the forest, like, making this kind of music. There's, like, in the first song, Watch the Lights Fade, which is an amazing song. Towards the back end, the last 30 seconds, you hear this owl start, like, you hear this owl hooting. Is that what it's called? Yeah, like, making a sound, like, in the trees, and you can hear it. It's like you're there. And then there's so many parts. There's so many other parts we'll talk about later, but it's just so immersive as a black metal album. And then, as I've said many times before, I'm very much, especially with black metal, and I'm very much a traditionalist. I'm not normally a fan of someone, changing it with this and with that and incorporating too much into it. This is why I love this album again. All he's doing is adding black metal, folk, and putting it together and making the best of both worlds into one. Well, technically two parts, but for this one, an amazing part one of an amazing double album. And yeah, like, it's just from the immersiveness to the production, to the conceptuality, how the whole album, the whole 8-track album flows, and even the longer tracks, like the 9 minutes and this 9 minutes 38, 9 minutes 47, 11 minutes, it all just feels so seamless. I always find myself lost, like like all the repeats I did for this album, I was just kind of closing my eyes, lost in the album. It makes you feel like you're in a forest in Norway or wherever it is. You feel so enlightened by the message he's trying to he's trying to deliver. And I'm not normally one to care about. I'll be honest, I'm not the most environmentally friendly person out there. I really don't but with this album, he makes me want to care about the forest, about the surroundings, the Greenland, the nature. So it's a really, really immersive album.
Yeah, man. I think it's he's based now in the Minnesota forest, and but he's originally from, like, Kentucky. I don't know how close they are proximity, but there's the rolling Kentucky hills. They say is supposed to be really beautiful, but he's also inspired by the Norwegian forest. So I'm not sure, but I read something that he spent some time there or something. But anyway, at the moment he's up in Minnesota, up in the forest, but he's way up in the forest, like, hidden out, and he's up there and he's just, immersed in it and absorbing that nature, and just pouring it back down onto the page or this computer. It's very much a man that is inspired by his own. This is what I love about solo artists. They're inspired by themselves and their own thought process and how they view things. And you know, when you're that like-minded or that way inclined to think, you solid yourself like roots, your roots in where you are, and it's crazy because it is the kind of album that you do get completely sucked in and you feel like you're somewhere else if you listen to it. And that's what another thing I like about this guy. I read he's like, please don't listen to this on your laptop and your laptop speakers. Please listen to this in headphones on a hike or on like a proper because he wants you to get sucked in. And he understands all this. And he also said like this album has never been sent to anybody for a review, which is ironic because we're here chatting about it now. But that's the thing about it, you see. He's doing everything for the right reasons. And I always talk about that. And this guy is definitely in for the right reasons. And I was surprised of the political element. The environmentalism stuff is very important, and you know, it's something that it resonates with me. But the political side of things, I wouldn't really consider myself political minded. I try to stay away from that because I think it's a fucking rabbit hole, and you never really get the results you want out of it. So it's just frustrating. But he hit on quite a few, and I've heard in his previous albums. Now I keep saying his name is Austin Lunn. For anybody who doesn't know, um, the previous albums, it's very deliberate that he keeps his vocals in a kind of a parameter where you can't fully understand what he's saying, or if understanding them at all. It's part of the soundscape that he's going for, which I think is really cool that it's deliberate because a lot. I mean, it could be a clever ploy because he doesn't want to, because it's an intricate, a fucking annoying process to get your vocals that kind of clarity. But yeah, no, I like the idea of it being a deliberate thing. But the second part to this album, everything's very clear because it's Americana, bluegrass kind of folky stuff, and you can hear a lot of the stuff is real obviously about political issues, and one in particular is I think Itch. He's clearly giving out about Trump and sending soldiers off to war, and I think he says the word asshole in it or something like, just real like typical words that you might not usually hear in music like this. But it's just really honest. It's really cool. But yeah, I'm really, I know we say this all the time, but I am really interested to listen back to his past stuff. I've heard the album Kentucky has got rave reviews, and it's an album that's gotten a lot of people into black metal that might not already be into, or black and metal that wouldn't necessarily, because it can be a daunting genre to get into. So I think this guy is opening doors for everything, and now here he goes with his Americana stuff. So it's just a really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's just funny like having his vocals done in that way. Like I guess he's like the he's the I can just imagine them, like in the forest, like everyone's searching for Bigfoot and different creatures, and they just hear this guy just like just like in the forest, just doing those vocals, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? What is that?" So and what's funny is I have no idea how I found this album like years ago. I came across it somehow, and I guess the album cover must have intrigued me, and I was like, all right, let's do it. And then obviously I haven't looked back, but it's just I don't yeah, it's one of those albums where I've just been intrigued by, and like I said, I've tried to contact this guy so much, but I guess if he's out in the forest, he's a bit hard to contact. But I would just love to pick his brain about this album, But as I said, hard man to contact. But just so much, so much about this album. Like for example, how how every song has its own. How do I describe this? Has its own unique chord progressions. There'll be like, for example, track 2, which talking about this album, I'm going to talk about it in tracks because I've no idea how to pronounce half these words. But track 2, whatever that's called, the 9 minutes and 38. Towards the end of it, towards the middle of the song and the end, you have these like amazing like chords. It's just down, 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 and then it has like, and then it builds on that, and then goes like it's it's a predominantly black metal sounding album, the cliche black metal elements, and then he'll add in, you know, different chord progressions, different tempos of guitar solos, different instruments to kind of liven up the black metal, make it sound, you know, unique and inspiring, and then he'll build on it and then go back to the cliche black metal sound, which I think is brilliant, because I think there's a very I would like to think there's only a few, there's only a handful of genres, subgenres in the world where most people don't think you can kind of craft with. You know, I think black metal is one of those sounds that's like, you know, it's you, how do I word this? Not many people expect you to be able to change that sound or be able to make something with it besides the traditional meat and potatoes black metal album. So I love how, you know, he's trying different things. He's adding in that folk element to make it sound a little bit sweeter, to make it sound a little bit more craftier, so to speak. And like I said on the first track, how it has that amazing, predominantly folk elements. You know, no vocals. It's just, well, except for that owl. The owl said a few things, but you know, that was towards the back end. He was probably like, "Listen to this fucking album." Nah, what the owl said. But you know, it has this amazing folk instrumental to kick off the album. Like I said, track 2 has 9 minutes of just black metal, and then sweet chord progressions, and then build up, and then more black metal. It's just he's trying so hard to make sure that every track is unique. Every track is its own thing, and you know, I love that. It's just like, and the real cherry on the cake, which is ironic because I hate cherries, but the cherry on the cake, or I guess anything else on the cake, is the fact that on track, you know, on track 5 and 8, you have this dialogue in it about nature, about the importance of preservation, and it's just, when you add that in as well, it's just like fucking hell. Like he's like, I love it. Like it's like as if this album wasn't immersive enough. He goes and adds that stuff in, and it's just like, it really makes you think. You sit there, and you know, I listen to it on my Beats headphones, so I wouldn't dare disrespect this album on a speaker, on like an outward speaker. I put my headphones on, and I'm just lost in. And to hear him talk about the wilderness, to hear him talk about preservation, and like I said, as a man who's not normally environmentally conscious that much, it just makes you think about it. It's like, fuck, like this shit's important, you know. It's something to worry about. And then on the final track, towards like the last few seconds, you hear this like waterfall, kind of on part 1. This waterfall is just like this water just flowing. It's just like, I don't know, like I'm not sure if this guy's literally recording in nature or if he's just found sound bites of it, but it's just so fucking it sounds so natural, so immersive, just so heartwarming, you know. And yeah, it's just, I could like I said, one of my 2 choices for black metal album, modern day black metal album, period, for me, one of 2. And it's just I guess for me this would be the word of the day, but it's just so fucking immersive, this album is.
Nice, yeah. I mean, when you have all the nature sounds thrown into music like this, it does. You know, I said this many times before. Like, I love meditating. I love anything chill that you can just sit back and just relax and just go into your own head and just, you know, empty your thoughts and just relax. And this album does that. And the really interesting thing is, I don't know if I said this already, but there is like a lo-fi element to it where when you're listening to it, it's very smooth and very, very relaxing and hypnotic, even the really heavy bits. And there are some vicious drumming going on in a lot of these tracks. And the guitars are very, but the thing I like about it, I don't think he detunes too much. So it kind of, it's not too overpowering. So you can listen to it in a more digestible kind of way. They're big chunky chords, and it's that black metal style, but it's not detuned to fuck. And I love that because I predominantly play in drop D because it's more punchy and snappy. It doesn't get lost or make things muddy. That's a really nice aspect to his songwriting approach, I think. everything he writes is very atmospheric. Like the atmospheric, this is just an atmospheric album, even down to the tone of the acoustic guitars. Seeing him playing live, with a chap with a cello. It was just him with an acoustic guitar and a chap with a cello, and it was in like a church setting, and it was absolutely beautiful. And just the sound off his guitar, he must have this slight bit of reverb on it, and it just absolutely soars with like atmosphere. But yeah, the thing about black metal that stands out to me that I find really appealing is a lot of it is pagan based, you know. And the thing about paganism is the animistic side, where you know there's the environment, there's the animals, the nature, everything is all combined into an animistic kind of way of looking at life and experiencing life. And this guy definitely has it. I mean, I saw him one photo. He's wearing his hammer and everything as well, which kind of gave it away to me. And I was like, oh yeah, I can dig this guy. But I have a feeling that that might be his gaff or his studio in the picture behind you, on the album cover. I don't know why. I must look. Yeah, I'd be interested to find that out. Actually, be really interested to find that out. But yeah, when I heard a raven squawking on one of the tracks, I was like, that's super cool. Love that. And then I was thinking to myself, Pentacon, Pentacon. I was like, that sounds really familiar. That word, you know, not being a band. And then I realized it's like a prison. This like it was like it's like this which is ironic because he's singing about, you know, the great outdoors and the wilderness and whatever else. But the Pentacon prison basically is it's a round prison where all the prisoners are facing each other, and right in the center is this tower, and the tower is blocked out. People that like the officers in the tower can see everybody at any second. They can just glance around at everybody, but the people in the cells can't see the officers. So obviously the officers can't watch everybody at the same time, but the prisoners don't know who they're looking at any given time. So it's based on a theory, the Pentacon theory, where people are controlled when they think they're being watched, even when they're not being watched. It's a really interesting theory. And I don't know whether he kind of gets this. I'm only connecting the dots here myself, that he's up in the forest, you know, and he's away from all of the bullshit, and he's able to stand back and just look at what's going on. And I think that's why his lyric content is so deep, and the way he brings the elements in. But it's just really, it's another interesting side to this band, you know, that people might not even realize. I haven't looked into any. Maybe he has said this in an interview. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to find out anyway. If that's what he thinks, he's sitting in his studio covered in snow, just looking down, watching everything and everybody.
Yeah, that's what I just thought about. I thought of now, like as immersive and as beautiful as the dialogue on this album is, the spoken word dialogue. I'm just imagining, like, you know, he just finished playing a killer solo, and he's like, all right, and he's like, you know, guys, the forest is important. Like, he just like needed to add dialogue. Like, I love it. It's just you can't make an album like this unless you're chill as fuck mentally. You can't like, this isn't the kind of album that you'd get if like a major label was pushing you. Like, like, you know, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I'll be back soon. I'm just going to the Himalayan forest. I'll see you later. Like, you just can't do that, you know. Like, so this is really a byproduct of one man and his, you know, his one with nature, he's one with himself and his music, and that's why, you know, as good as it is for, obviously, as amazing as it is for underground bands to get pushed to get pushed to mainstream labels and have their dream come true, so to speak. These albums get lost in that dream come true scenario, because you can't get this kind of thing when you're rushing. You can't get this kind of thing with $1 million budget. This is the kind of thing that you have to be, like I said, just one with yourself in the forest, talking about your values and what's important to you, which in this case is, for him, is the environment. And I just I love like like I said, the last track, this like old guy just talking. It sounds like a different guy, like an older guy, and he's just like talking about how this small stem is going to grow to be a tree, and how the young generation, it's their time to really kind of push in and make sure to take care of the environment. And it's just like, it's so weird because it's like, I think I think for me it's all about context. It's like, for example, if my local government rep is telling me you need to take care of the environment, I'm like, go fuck yourself. But if this guy is telling me, like, in this album, in this immersive, amazing, beautiful music, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, if this guy came up to me, Austin, if he came up to me and was like, take care of the environment, I'll be like, you make sick music, fuck yeah, I'll do it. Like, it was just like, I think it really is about context. And I think these albums, if an album like this was, you know, like if an album like this was taught at schools, shown in schools, like, I think it might like reach like the younger generation that he speaks about, and and make them understand the importance of um taking care of the forest and nature. So I just think, like I said, these kind of gems get lost in the sea of metal, the sea of endless music we get out there. And I think this is the kind of album that, like I said, you could show a handful of the new generation of metalheads, and they'll listen to it and be like, "Oh fuck yeah, this guy has a point. Yeah, I'm gonna." What's cool though? And I'm saying this because it's about nature. 10 minutes away, 10-minute walk from my house where I take Zeus for a walk. There's a forest. We have our mini forest, and they've actually started a preservation project where they've kind of blocked off most of the forest, so that it can grow and like be kept out. And it's really cool because, yeah, so it's just like, it seems, well, at least in my area, they're trying to maintain the forest and keep just dickheads out. I guess who were just doing dumb shit to it. And yeah, it's just cool because, I'll a few times this week I'll listen to this album in my headphones and take and go for a walk. It's just like I'm surrounded by nature listening to this album. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like, it's just like, I guess it is the way it was meant to be intended. As you said, how he said, listen to this on a hike. That would be the best case scenario. And from someone who literally listened to it in a forest, I can say it has a real almost, dare I say, spiritual effect. But yeah, it's just like the fact that he decided to use environmental awareness as his conceptual topic for the album. I think it's just pure amazement.
Nice. That just made me think. Imagine all the politicians suddenly just became musicians. Like, I go, all the politicians are out and all the musicians took over. Fucking hell. Like, it would be crazy, man. Like, we'd be all like overthinking everything. It'd be like it'd be madness. It'd be interesting to see though, in a parallel universe, that you could leave when shit went real bad. Like, because like, yourself, you spend your whole time hanging around with musicians and talking to musicians and stuff. We're not one-dimensional characters. Like, we like this. We're not linear or whatever. It's a really interesting theory. I like that. But while you were talking, I noticed as well on the image behind you, there's like a circle faded over, and that kind of looks like the prison I was chatting about. That's It's
Yeah.
like a circle. Yeah, it's like a circle like that.
Yeah.
Uh, the Panopticon thing vibe, like, and then you can see it's going out towards like where the cells will be. I don't know whether that is it, because at first I thought it was like grain of a tree, but yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like, there's all these hidden things in this. This man really, that's it. He gets the time to sit and think about what he's doing, and it's not lost in the sea of the corporate rat race of, maybe the music industry might be up in the higher levels for bands, and it is a really important thing, and it's a really important thing to promote. And even though he doesn't want, or maybe not necessarily doesn't want it reviewed, he didn't ask for it to be reviewed.
Yeah.
And I think, that's it's something that we should promote and praise and push artists like this guy, Austin. They're out on tour now as well, I think, coming up soon. So if you're in anywhere in his vicinity, I don't know if they're playing outside the States or anything, but like definitely I've seen live videos of them playing with the full band, and it is powerful stuff, like really, really cool. Definitely worth it. And like he's doing, all those massive screams. He's doing all of his leads and big chunky riffs, and then he'll sit back and he'll get his acoustic out and he'll do a nice number. And it's really interesting. You just disappeared. Oh my God, he's turned into an animal again. Oh my God, what are you meant to be there? Like a mouse?
Polar bear.
A polar bear.
I thought it would be.
Yeah. A bear in the forest. It was the jumper that. It was the jumper that threw me, man. I was like, why? If the bear was in the forest, why would he need a jumper on? Like, surely he's out in the wild. Not domesticated, not like these domesticated bears, Oh my God. You fucked up your green screen now a bit.
Yeah.
The bear came in and just fucked things up on you.
Unfortunately, yes.
But
yes, continue.
No, I don't think I can after that, man. Yeah, great album. Go buy it. It's wicked. One thing I always mean to do is shout out the website of the artist, and I never get to do it, and I always forget. This guy deserves people going to buy his merch, I think, to really support him. So, pentaconmerch.myshopify.com. .myshopify.com. Go buy something from this lad for a Christmas gift for your, the death metal or black metal or blackened metal fan. And support him so he can help support this lovely planet we live on.
Nice. Well, that was a fun ending to the thing. So let's talk sponsorships or promotions. You can go first, Ron.
Yeah, speaking of Christmas and everything else, I would like to show off my Surf King Cassidy's bass, still in stock on Cassidy's. You can get a nice thwack out of that bad boy. They're still on sale, so go pick them up before, because there's only limited supply. And if you're feeling really generous, go get your favorite guitar player. Not your favorite guitar player. Your favorite. Go buy go buy Slash a new Cassidy's guitar. Your favorite friend that is a guitar player. A custom guitar by Cassidy's. This is my one. You can buy them. You can purchase them. I nearly knocked over my Black Star up there. It's up there now. That would have been really bad. Yes. So Cassidy'sGuitar.co.uk.
Nice. Well, that was quite something. Well, today we're going to talk about Viking Trinkets. Now these boys are not stopping to. It didn't work as fast as I wanted. Damn. They're not something to sleep on. So don't sleep on these boys. Don't be shy and cover yourself up. You need to go to these boys today. And don't worry, they're not in the virtual reality world, and they're not 3D. They are based in New Zealand, and they make these amazing trinkets, as we both have on. Yes, there it is. Has the cool two wolf heads. The ones that we got was the Fenrir one. It's amazing. You can wear it 24/7 in the shower, to bed, to work. Whenever I'm at work, I just tuck it in like that. Pretty easy. When I'm out, I wear it out. It's an amazing quality, and they're always doing good specials and discounts on their website. So go check it out, vikingtrinkets.com, and get yourself 10% off when you put in the SAGAS code, which is SMP10. So that'll give you 10% off, and make sure to tell them that the SAGAS Metal Podcast sent you. Also, obviously, shout out Josh Freeman, aka There's Only One Elvis. He makes all our merch. If you go to the link provided below that I'll give to you, you'll be able to get some of that merch. Make sure you also get his specific merch as well. They're also amazing. But if you want the SAGAS Metal Podcast merch, you'll find 3 options at the moment: jumper or hoodie, depending on what you say, long sleeve and short sleeve, and with the words "fuck work, listen to SAGAS" and a logo at the back. So amazing quality. I do have mine, but I think it's in the wash. So amazing quality. Go check it out and support the SAGAS Metal Podcast. And last but not least, the Gas Digital Network. So the Gas Digital Network is a company created by Louis J. Gomez and his business partner, Ralph. It's a place for plenty of different podcasts to have their time and, have different topics, such as there's a show about horror movies. There's a show about wrestling. There's even a show featuring Zach Wilde himself. So it really is the place to go for all comedy and unique style podcasts. And my favorite is Legion Skanks podcast. 3 different comedians coming with 3 different perspectives, and it is the most inappropriate but funny 1 to 2 hours you'll have a week. 2 episodes, 1 live, 1 on Zoom, both great. Go check them out. Which reminds me, did you end up seeing that clip? They did this like a few weeks ago where they had the Legion of Skanks called Fox News and had their associate Dan Soder pretend to be Dave Chappelle on the phone. It was this guy's a king of accents, and he put the perfect Dave Chappelle for 7 minutes straight. The girl had no idea. It was the funniest shit. So yeah, shit like that. It's just hilarious. They always have amazing guests on, always talk about the shit that you shouldn't joke about, which is what makes it funny. So yeah, go check them out, Gas Digital Network. Get yourself a subscription, and even if Legion of Skanks isn't for you, I promise you'll find something that is. So go check it out, and yeah, that's me.
Sweet. Oh, before we go any further, did you get a lovely lava bead gift from Viking Trinkets, perchance?
Not yet.
Oh my god, I got one.
Nice.
So that's another thing about this company. They're that good that they might even send you a little gift. So check them out.
Nice. I'll be on the lookout for it. I wasn't expecting it, so who knows? Maybe it's in my mail. Oh yeah. I thought this would be a fun thing to add since I am the Serpent Tongue. And I'm like, fuck it, may as well. So the Serpent Tongue, I guess this is history time. The Serpent Tongue is not just something that I made up. Actually, it is. But there's a reason why I made it up, is because in real life, I really don't give a fuck. And the other day, somebody actually sent me a death threat because I said I was anti-transgender. I thought that was funny. His specific words were, "You deserve to be in the firing line." And I was like, that's funny. That's a funny image. And such an old school way, an old school threat, like, go to the firing squad. I'm just saying.
I'll sort him out, don't you?
So I don't know why I thought to mention that, but don't worry, I'm repping the Serpent Tongue banner in real life and in music life. So you may not agree with most of the shit I say, but at least I have the guts to say it, as you should as well. Anyone out there who's afraid to speak their mind, just do it. Fuck it. It's better to be in an open world than a one all closed up. So if you feel like you have a bit of serpent tongue in you, let it out. Just not at work. You probably get fired. But out in public, outside of work hours, say what you want and be proud of it. Nice. I don't know why I had to add that message, but I felt it was important because this guy is speaking his environmental facts, his truth. He's pushing for his agenda. I'm pushing for mine.
Speak your truth, kids. Speak your truth.
As I do. I'm probably gonna get killed for it sometime, but I will. All right. Here's to our next segment, our most famous segment. Ren, take it away.
Speak your truth, kids. The devil's advocate. I just realized my stepson was playing the guitar. Watch. The top string's in E. Never, ever do any of my guitars be in E. Oh, he fucked it up on us.
I can just imagine you just like walking off. What the f is my guitar?
I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'm a professional. The devil's advocate. It's gone now. It's gone now. I'm gonna have to give out to him now about that. I had a feeling. I should have checked it, but I didn't. I thought, no, he'll put it back, but he didn't. Speaking of things people can buy, you can hit me up for these Ren Marabou picks as well.
Nice.
Send one out to you.
They look cool.
Just hit me up. Don't bother going through the store. Just hit me up.
All right.
Easier that way.
You've heard him. Just hit him up.
Just do it.
All right. So, this is fun.
Do it.
All right. The Devil's Advocate. So I think this had to have been. I know I must have said this tons over the course of this podcast, but for me, this is actually, I think, the hardest time I've had doing Devil's Advocate, because I was legitimately, knowing that I had to do this segment, I was picking my brains, listening to every song intently, like, what do I hate about this album? And it was hard for me to choose one, but what I came up with was track 3 for me. So that would be Blatterman. I don't know how you say it. Now, here's the thing. I still think this is a perfect track, except to me, track 3 has the least variety in terms of switch ups. It's more or less the most traditional black metal song on the album, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, obviously, at this point, we have to nitpick. So, well, I have to nitpick. I don't know how Ren feels, but for me, it was very hard. I had to nitpick hard. So, track 3 for me, just because I had to nitpick on the variety of the song. Yeah, so track 3, even though I still love the track, I love all the tracks on here. Now, favorite, that's the hardest one. For me, favorites, because I have so many contenders. The first track, just how blissful it is, and then the sick owl at the end, just like hooting. That was sick. Track number 5 with which has the first dialogue, which is amazing. Track 8, it's just so many moments that just stand out to me for the better. So it was really hard for me to choose a favorite track, but I think I'm gonna have to stick with track 1. Watch the lights fade. I think for me, a good intro is important for a good album, to start the album well. And I feel this track does the album amazing justice, and it's just the perfect way to start an album. It sets the tone properly. It gives you the context of the feel, the vibe, and like I said, he even had a shout out from Al. So that's pretty sick. To get an Al shout out, like not many of us can get an Al shout out, and he did. So shout out to the Al. That's my. Yep, right. That's my choice.
Right, sorry, no, it glitched there. I wasn't sure. I picked my least favorite track on the second half of the album, so I'm gonna have to try and quickly shift that now. My favorite song actually is the Singing Wilderness. I just love everything about that song. I love the guitar tone. I love how it's quite different from everything else. It kind of gives you a taste of the kind of rock elements on the next. There's a couple of kind of rocky kind of parts like on the next part. I really like that one. That's one that I actually went back and listened to several times, just completely for enjoyment, not for studying purposes. Because I picked for the second, let me see, probably A Ridge Where the Tall Pines Once Stood. which is a really cool title. But yeah, I think that one out of the 8 tracks on the first part, that's probably the one that I didn't go back to listen to as much, but it's still a really good song. But yeah, so I kind of botched my least favorite this week, but yeah, good stuff. Very, very good album. Good pick, my man. And I highly recommend sticking the Singing Wilderness on repeat.
Yes. Yes. So just to clarify, this and the EP, The Satanist by Behemoth, in my opinion, the 2 best black metal albums of the modern day. Fight Nick. No, I don't know.
Fight.
Yeah, so do you have a choice for this week?
I do. But I was gonna say you're very feisty this week, bro. You're you're gonna go out into the forest and pick a fight with a giant tree. You're hanging around with me too much, man. You know, you're getting feisty. Dream Widow is actually I thought I'd go for something a bit different this week. Dream Widow is the fictional band in Studio 666 that Dave Grohl decided to write an album for, and it's actually a metal album. It's when you look at the cover, it's like fully like death metal kind of cover. And I just thought for a bit of crack, we listen to this because it's I haven't heard it. I've just been told that it's pretty good. So we can both listen to it and enjoy it at the same time and pick our own favorites and least favorites in the same time frame. So yeah, Dream Widow. The album I think is called Dream Widow as well, and it's basically Dave Grohl acting as that crazy fucker from the movie and turning it into like a death metal. No, remember his movie 666, Studio 666.
Yeah.
I
thought you meant when you played the devil.
Yeah. Well, it kind of is. He's kind of like a possessed character in Studio 666. So he's kind of like it's like he's brought that character to life and actually made an album. But apparently it's really metal-y, and I don't know if there's any guests on it, but it gives us a chance to also talk about Probot, which is his solo album he did years ago. So you're yawning already about fucking Foo Fighters. Jesus, man.
Hey, when did I say I hated Foo Fighters?
Oh no, you didn't say you hate them, but you know.
Well, I do. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, you're not the biggest fan. But yeah, no, apparently this is quite metal-y, so I thought it would be interesting and it might be a fun because this was quite a deep album. So I think we could lighten it next week with something.
And by the way, commenting on my yawning, you're the one that wanted to start an hour later. It is midnight.
Oh yeah.
Where
it's
I am.
Late, it's late for poor Corbin. Yeah, I know.
So go fuck yourself. No.
I feel sorry for.
Like I've been saying that, I've called myself saying that a lot now. Like I swear, all my response to everything in life now is just go fuck yourself.
That's what I'm saying. You're getting feisty, man. It's good.
By the way, a little insider. I thought this was cool. So, if you go check out our Patreon account, it's called SAGAS. I have a segment on there called The Venomous Bite where I just talk about different crazy album experiences, artists, or metal experiences in general. And I'm actually in talks with, get this, a blues artist. I've got a blues artist I've been talking to, who's going to help me make an intro, a blues intro for the. I thought it would be quite cool. So yeah, that's why I haven't released any new Patreon content yet, because I'm waiting for the intro so I could put that in at the start. But yeah, so if you haven't checked it out, so far I've done the album Iowa by Slipknot, I've done the Sex Pistols, and I've done Ozzy Osbourne, just his career, which I was in way over my head when I did that. I was like, "Fuck, this is a lot of content." I was just going to talk about the bat incident, but then I was like, "Fuck it, I may as well cover everything." And what a life he's had, and he's still not dead. So what a life he's had. So yeah, if you want just interesting story time, I guess, learn something new about your favorite metal artist, then go check out the Patreon. $5 a month, that will never change. I can't be bothered, adding extra tiers. It'll just be $5 for everything. So anything in the future we bring out, any new cool updates, you can have it all for $5 a month. We'll never change the price. And yeah, so good deal. Huh, the light's shining in. Huh? Get the fucking
Yeah, I feel like the Messiah or something.
the Messiah, Ren the Messiah. All right, well, yeah, that's so this is episode 45 of the SAGAS Metal Podcast. We will see you again next week, and as we always say, same time, same place, or
Or something.